So, welcome to the video, guys, where I'm going to be explaining to you a little bit of the undead lore in World of Warcraft Classic, so you understand exactly a little bit more where you fit in the game. So, without further ado, I'm just going to explain a little bit about the undead. The undead humans and elves, they were freed from the Lich King's control. They used to all be underneath the servitude of the Lich King. The Forsaken, the undead, those two names are synonymous, are a strange and dark force. They're hailing from the twisted, skittering darkness of Undercity. The Forsaken are nominally aligned with the Horde, but they they only serve themselves. Their objectives are twofold. The first objective that they have is to eliminate the Scourge. Now, in the little video that I'm walking around with, you see all these like skeletons and zombies. Those guys are the Scourge. Those are the people that did not regain consciousness, did not free themselves from the Lich King's control, so they do not have sentience like the undead do. The undead, the Forsaken, whatever you want to call them, they have their memories from before they were undead. They have sentience, they have free will, and they decide that they want to follow Lady Sylvanas, the Dark Lady, which we'll get into in a second. Sorry for that. So their number one objective is to eliminate the Scourge, and the second is to establish a place for themselves on Azeroth, because they don't really have a place to call home. They don't really have a place for themselves in this land. So 4 years ago, the High Elven Ranger General Sylvanas Windrunner fell in combat against the Scourge. So she actually used to be an elf. Prince Arthas, who is the Lich King, raised her as a banshee. A banshee is a type of scourge. It's like a screaming, wailing ghost. They raised her as a banshee and compelled her to follow his command. When the Lich King's power waned in the incident surrounding the Frozen Throne, which if you played the Warcraft games, you'd know the lore behind that, Sylvanas harnessed her fury and tore herself free from his skeletal grasp. So she released herself. Her willpower was so strong that she released herself from his control, from his grasp. She freed many other undead as well, and recruited powerful allies from the Burning Legion and the surrounding ogre clan. Sylvanas dubbed her new force the Forsaken, so she's the one that actually gave them that name, and the undead established their capital in the labyrinth crypts beneath Lordaeron's capital city. Now you'll hear Lordaeron, the word Lordaeron, come up a lot, because Lordaeron used to be a human kingdom that the Lich King conquered and turned everybody there into these people that are going around to the undead. He raised them after he had killed them and put them underneath his control. And that is actually after they established their sentience, after they fell underneath the command of Sylvanas Windrunner. They pledged themselves to her. They took over the capital, the city of Lordaeron, and underneath the city is where the Undercity is. Now, that's the reason why it's called the Undercity, is because it's literally underneath the city, and it's canals. It's like the sewers of the city, and that's where the undead put their capital. The Forsaken made allies of the Horde out of necessity and convenience. It's very important to understand is that they made this alliance out of necessity and convenience, not because they really care about Thrall as the war chief. They did it out of the necessity for surviving. They have no love for the orcs, tauren, or any other living creature, but they need time to strike against the Scourge, and allies can help them do that. The Forsaken claim that they joined the Horde to prove their desire to leave their evil ways behind, but nobody really believes this. The Horde accepts the Forsaken's help, as they do indeed, and have a common enemy, and that common enemy is the Scourge, because the Scourge are everywhere. There's just undead all over Azeroth. The Horde is leery of the Forsaken's tactics, however, and keeps watchful eyes on them. This caution is justified, as they experienced This caution is justified. Forsaken culture is strange, a perverse combination of the lives they once knew as mortals and the mindless slavery they experienced in the Scourge, colored by white-hot rage towards the Lich King and almost equally intense devotion to their queen, like Lady Sylvanas to the Undead. Um, they are like she's their liberator. She's the one that gave them back their sentience, and they are very, very devout and very loyal to her, more so than any other member of the Horde. A great portion of their efforts focus on dark alchemy, and the Royal Apothecary Society commands great power in the Undercity's oily tunnels. The apothecaries constantly send Forsaken on missions to gather odd materials for their twisted experiments. Let me get my guy. Stop running into this wall. So the Apothecary Society is always sending these people on these twisted experiments. Rumors tell that the undead creatures are working to create a plague that will exterminate the Scourge and every living being on Azeroth. Are the Forsaken evil? At times it can really be difficult to tell. Some Forsaken attempt to reclaim their humanity by acting in kind and helpful ways. Others allow hatred to fester into cruelty and rage. It really depends on which Forsaken, because they do have free will. While some of them are very evil and very bad, there's other ones that are trying to maybe refine or recount, come to grips with the way that they are, so they want to have those human emotions again. Priests are some people that can kind of, like the character I'm playing right now, priests sometimes being so close to the light in some of the lore that I've read, they start to regain some of their old feelings a little bit more than the other undead. Rumors tell that the undead creatures are working... let's skip down. All that can be said is that the Forsaken follow their own agendas, and the rest of the world be damned, and if they have their way, it will be. Not all Forsaken are evil, but many are, and other races definitely view them as such. A non-evil Forsaken must work very hard to prove his or her neutral, or perhaps good intentions. Few good Forsaken exist, but many evil ones do, and their leadership is definitely up to nefarious ends. Most Forsaken are pretty despicable, and their motivations as a race are evil and destructive. The Forsaken are humanoids transformed into the undead with all the powers associated with the Scourge. They serve the Banshee Queen, Lady Sylvanas, looking to her as their savior for delivering them from the Lich King's mental dominance. The Forsaken dwell within the bowels of the ruins of Lordaeron capital city, which they have taken to the calling Undercity. Dedicated to seek vengeance upon the Scourge for damning them to their condition, they strive to undermine the Scourge's control of Lordaeron. The Forsaken have been limited in their ability to reinforce their numbers, having no necromancers among their kind. Instead, these fearless undead warriors are composed mostly of fighters and warlocks dedicated to building a culture of their own amidst a world that hates and fears them. Only recently has Sylvanas recruited and trained necromancers into the Forsaken ranks, and that is actually something that happens in a later expansion following the events of Wrath of the Lich King. So as of right now in World of Warcraft Classic, and we don't know where they're going to take this story, undead cannot procreate. There cannot become more undead. So the ones that are on Azeroth now are the only ones that there are. So that is a very, very pointed bit of lore there that you guys need to understand. We're going to go ahead, we're going to stop this video right now because I just wanted to give you a brief overview of who the undead were, who the Forsaken were, so that a brand new player, or maybe someone who's been playing it for a little while but does not understand the lore, could wrap their head around it a little bit better. If you liked this video, make sure you like it, comment if I messed something up or if something you think didn't seem too right, or if you have questions. And most importantly, I just want you to share this video. I want to create better content for you guys, and the only way that I can do that is if you share it with more people and I understand more people's opinions on this video. It really means a lot when you do that. So thank you so much, and you guys have a fantastic day.